I'll tag along. Don't mind if it's awkward.
Yeah, so okay guys, today we're joined by Jack Simioni. Is that how I say it? Probably should have verified that
Simioni,
first.
yeah.
Simeone, mamma mia.
Simioni, that's correct.
Little Italian guy over here.
It is,
Guitarist,
yeah. Yeah.
guitarist of To the Grave, Aussie deathcore. We love to see it. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing fantastic. So yeah, let's talk about, you guys had your album drop, director's cuts, and you guys killed it with that one. You guys have been killing it for a while. Been listening to you guys since I think 2019, when I started getting into deathcore. So been tagging along for a bit. But like, how old is the band? Like, what's the lore?
Oh, alright. So the band has been around for quite some years. I won't
Mhm.
say how many years. I personally joined in 2019 so basically the band broke up in 2016,
Mhm.
and then Dane and a few of the guys wanted to restart it again in, yeah, like 2018, 2019. Then they, yeah, pretty much started then. We released like Global Warning, and it was like a whole new.
That's a good release.
Yeah, thank you. It's pretty much like a restart of the band, but kind of like just full steam ahead ever since
Mhm.
then. Mm.
That yeah, that EP, or what was that, was an album? Global Warming.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was an album.
that that was chunky. That was really chunky. And around that time, that's when I first started getting into deathcore. So for that to be like one of my first listens was kind of crazy. I think it was like Rings of Saturn, Distant, Angel Maker, you guys, and those were the four that like really helped
Oh,
get me into the genre. I was like, whoa, because before that I came from grindcore, so to hear this stuff, just like that much groove was really crazy. And you guys have a really distinct sound. So wow, that's kind of, I didn't even know that you guys have been going that long. I thought like 2019 was kind of where you guys began. Is the old stuff just like lost the time, or?
yeah, a lot of people think that like that's when the band started. I think, yeah, kind of. I just think like, yeah, we're just constantly evolving forward and forward. Where it's like, yeah, global warming. I feel like it's kind of like the new start, even though we still like talk about like no lives matter is like still a thing. But like, yeah, going forward, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's like that.
Yeah, no, that's a good mindset, especially like, I don't know, music is always evolving. You can't really stay stagnant. There is some value in it, but if you have your own sound, which you guys do and most people do, but you can only release the same song a few times, right? So it makes sense to like keep that going, keep that evolving. So you guys, I feel like you guys have like pretty explicit like animal rights, um, messaging, like climate change messaging, which is really cool. It feels like I feel like historically the only band that really comes to mind is Cow Decapitation, so it's cool to see that type of messaging get more traction. Kind of worrying to see that type of messaging get more traction, just because like, oh yeah, this is a real issue. Like it's getting more traction because it's on more of our minds. It's because it's like, the clock is ticking. So
Mm.
tell me about like, you guys maybe thoughts on that. Are you guys all vegan?
Um, Not all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Most of us are. I'm vegan myself, but yeah.
So yeah, how do you guys like sort of conceptualize like that type of messaging, incorporating it into your music? Because it does seem to be, it's like a big theme of the band and your releases.
Um, yeah. So basically, yeah, it's just like, well, it's obviously like a really big issue, and it's like a kind of music is like our way to like push it forward. I guess like
Hmm.
it's the biggest engine to like for people to listen and absorb what the actual message is. And I feel like it's definitely like we've had so many people be like, well, I knew this was an issue, but like read your lyrics, I looked further into it, and now I've realized what actually is going on, and I've made the switch to stop consuming animal products.
Hmm.
Everything along those lines, yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely like a really good point. I feel like a lot of people, I'm sure you guys may have gotten, sometimes people criticize like, oh, you'll get the people who just like completely miss the point. They're like, music's not supposed to spread messages or like shit like that. But it's a really powerful vehicle for like, just any sentiment, really. So it is cool to
Mm.
see that. I feel like Of course, there's gonna be people who push back, but I think regardless of whether or not you're omnivorous, vegan, whatever your diet choices are, like you can't deny there is like a culture of overconsumption, a culture of waste. So I do feel like it is strange to me personally that there are people who push back against these themes, or like even that
Yeah,
sort of focus on climate change.
I guess it's very confronting to people, like, to hear something which you've done your whole life to then be told, like, it's bad, it kinda like, yeah. But it's just one of them things that it's like, people it's slowly like, the more you push it, the more people listen, and the more it just, yeah, spreads like that, yeah.
Definitely. So maybe we dive into the new album director's cuts. I feel like let's start with the cover art, man. That's it's a pretty explicit cover art, and I feel like metal, there's like gory cover art, but like this is real, which I feel like has some value. But you want to talk about that a bit?
Yeah, so that's basically that photo was from sorry, it was from Farm Transparency, which I'm not sure if it's just Australia-based, but it's people who have entered slaughterhouses, taking actual footage, everything from, like, what's actually going on in farms. And, yeah, we basically just went through heaps of photos because we didn't wanna do spooky monster type thing
Hmm.
or something that was actually real, and we just saw this photo and was just like, "Yeah, that's it." It was just like and I feel like it does represent kind of what the album sounds like as well. Like, it's a bit more of a sadder sounding album. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I do think especially with the current state of like the meat industry, we are so separate from like the factory to the table process. Like we don't even think about the factory. It's just like here is meat. It is here. Eat it, don't think about it.
Mm.
And people really don't like thinking about it. Me personally, I eat meat, but I feel like you just you have to think about it. You have to think about it because like when you think about it, you become less wasteful because it's like if you have your meat in front of you and you just dissociate from what it actually where it came from, what it was, you're gonna waste. You're gonna overconsume. You're gonna it just seems terrible to me to like look past it. So having like such a real album that sort of breaks that barrier between like the factory to the table dynamic that we're sort of disconnected from, I feel like that's awesome, right? It keeps it real.
Yeah.
It's not like spooky monster to represent the same theme. It's like no, this is a real situation,
Yeah, this is what you're eating. Like, it's a
literally.
living animal.
Hmm. I guess like I mentioned earlier with Caldecap, their messaging has been like I feel like similar messaging, but it's been more of a what if it was you versus some of your messaging. I guess at least lyrically in some of the music videos, sort of relates to that framework. But I feel like you guys also approach it from the angle of no, no, this is just the way it is, and even in the way it is, it doesn't need to be you. It is still gruesome. It is still hard to look at, which I do appreciate. It's kind of different from the way I feel like general themes in metal have been approached. Usually themes in metal, it's like what if it was you? What if it was you? What if it was you? It's like no, consider it being something else, and look, you're still uncomfortable with it.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, this is what you're consuming every day. It's happening every yeah, every second of the day, every it's just constantly happening, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's like there's so many better ways. Like even with the system, like of course, ideally, zero waste, zero cruelty, but like there's so much like in the process where it's like I was like reading into like how like the ages at which animals are slaughtered. And it's like
Mm.
versus like their total lifespans, like I think chickens, it's like they would live like 6 years and they're slaughtered at like 2 months. It's like insane the way it works. And for those like months of these animals' lives, they're in shitty conditions, pens. It's vile. It's really gross. But we're disconnected from it.
Yeah, there's no humane way to kill an animal unless it's sick and suffering.
Hmm. Let's talk about getting into the album itself. We've talked a lot of themes, but what were some of your goals going into this album from global warming?
Well, I guess the biggest thing is obviously Global Warning and Epilogue was written by our ex-guitarist, who obviously
Hmm.
I'll give him his props now. He's new in and he's got his own band now called Body Prison. They sound it's definitely check them out. Um, so I was kind of had to step up and write this new one, which was like, yeah, it kind of was like slowly building up to like, I guess, be a proper release. The biggest thing was, yeah, trying to still have incorporate parts of the original sound while expanding to sound more towards like obviously the way I write. So yeah, pretty much like that.
Yeah, and it did feel like you guys did stay true to that sort of because you guys are deathcore, but there's so much more to it. I feel like at your core you have there's almost like a new hardcore edge. There's something about that Aussie hardcore sound that I don't know what it is, but it's just done differently from I feel like some other bands, like the way Alpha Wolf approaches like just their riffs, or even Northlane, a metalcore band. It's quite different, but you guys, you sort of have that edge, but it's brought to deathcore. And what I thought was like really interesting about this album was, of course, the black metal influence. Like it's built throughout like so many different songs in many subtle ways, versus I feel like the trend currently in the scene is to be very blatant forward with that black metal influence, but you guys stayed very true to the sound you've developed in the new era, while incorporating some more black metal subtleties, which I thought was interesting, like the choruses on Cut Off the Head, Red Dot Sight, the Die Rise solo. Yeah, it was like pretty much chock full of where were your influences for that? Where'd they come from?
Yeah, so basically the whole thing was like really not to sound black metal. That's the funny thing is it's more to sound theatrical, kind of like Ice Nine Kills. I guess I did the orchestration for the whole album, and my whole goal was like, I guess, yeah, to be a bit more theatrical, to add the rising, like the big, which I guess, like, yeah, if you have violins in deathcore, means you're black metal. But it's yeah, because I don't listen to like the only black metal album I'll listen to is like Dimu's Spiritual Black Dimensions, which I guess kind of does make sense because it does have that kind of sounding to it. But yeah,
Mhm. That's really cool. It seems like, yeah, you like sort of uh, convergently came across some later generation like black metal influences, the more intricate ones. So once black metal, they discovered, hey, computers, and then started using synths and stuff, because there were some synth sections, even some riffs that remind me of Carrick Angren, which is a more modern symphonic black metal band. I think they've been around since like 2010, but they're very Demu influenced. It seems like you kind of converge on a very similar sound without knowing, which is kind of cool. I just guess when you have like that sort of symphonic influence that's derived from a band that's rooted in black metal, you might come across that. But I found that quite interesting, and it's kind of funny that that wasn't the intention.
nah, not at all. Like, obviously, it's cool to do black metal stuff, but yeah, I guess like, well, it's cool in general to have just like to do something a bit different. Like, obviously, I guess now got the black metal stuff is a thing. Like, I've seen a few people talk about it like that. Same with you, but yeah, the more you add to the plot, I reckon, the more interesting the music will be in general. Yeah,
Yeah, definitely. I feel like deathcore is already fairly diverse, which is nice. So even if different bands bring in like the same exact influence, they're still gonna manifest in very different ways. And on top of that, black metal as a well, you haven't listened to much, but it's like it's like 40 years of people going, I gotta sound different from everyone else. No one can take my sound. I have to sound unique. I only want my music to be heard by 6 people. Uh, it leads to, for some reason, a lot of white supremacy, but also really unique subgenres within the genre. So it is interesting because I feel like the way the direction of deathcore is going, people are starting to pick up on some of those smaller, more underground black metal influences. Some of the bigger ones that derive from that. Who knows? Maybe someone's gonna do a blackened folk deathcore album. Who knows? It's possible. Maybe it'll be to the
yeah,
grave.
definitely. Yeah, definitely. Like, I think deathcore in general is like, it's in like the last year or two. It's just like because it kind of had its dip where like deathcore wasn't huge, but now it's just like everyone's full steam ahead, and there's just so many directions like everyone's going in, and it's cool to see that like you can listen to deathcore, but you can listen to like it's like there's so much to choose from, and like everyone's killing it, which is just like so cool to see.
Yeah, definitely, and even, I think in my full album reaction, I really emphasized the black metal stuff, which you didn't even intend, but you guys also sort of have a lot of, like, the more, like, electronic, digital I don't even know how to describe maybe industrial? Maybe that's not quite right, but you guys also had, more techie stuff incorporated in there too, like, there were quite a few influences, you had some slamming sections, which was awesome. It was a diverse album.
Yeah, yeah. With the yeah, the electronic stuff is like obviously I listen to a lot of like hardstyle, like hardcore, like electronic music, and it kind of builds off that with like even the background atmosphere where like everything builds up to the peak and rises and all that. So it like I guess there's always like some sort of like synth element, like the new stuff we're already working on is already like got way more of that
Mhm.
involved in it.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like dark synths they're really popping off in the genre as well. Uh, and it is interesting. Like, what was I feel like what's song was it? Found footage. That definitely gets into that sort of. Did you say hard style? I'm like not versed at all in like rap trap or any of that. But that was like a really cool blend of like metal with a more like rap style approach. It's a diverse album.
Yeah, found footage especially like Dan kind of came with the idea of doing a song that was like not really a song. It was meant to be like kind of like a piece of art in itself, where it was like you can listen to it, but like you need the video, you need to know the lyrics for everything to make sense. It's and yeah, I kind of like approached it where I'm like, all right, build it all up to this one peak and just yeah, make it be crushing.
Yeah, that's really yeah, it does seem like a big part of your approach is about that sort of linearity building up and then, to that final like delivery point because I do find it quite cool how linear your song structures have been on this album. It didn't seem like, typical song structure. It's like, oh, versus chorus, versus chorus, versus chorus end. And it's like, okay, you kind of listen to the same song twice in that. But you guys ultimately build into that final moment. It all culminates. It comes to a point. So you're kind of. I find that song structure, the linear structure versus the circular structure, it really holds attention well. I think that's especially profound when paired with your messaging as well.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Like especially too, like obviously we've like still to keep it like the linear structure where it's like that, but it's like cool to have I always love adding like say the end of Manhunt where it's like
Mhm.
the groove breakdown. The groove part, like cool parts like that where it's like it's building up to this point and like you're expecting a breakdown, a chorus, something like that, but it just hits you with something you're not expecting.
Mhm.
That's cool too.
Yeah, the ones that really make you snap your head over, like, oh, didn't see that coming. Yeah, that's really
Yeah.
awesome. Let's see. So yeah, what was I guess the writing process of this album like? Because you mentioned that you kind of had to step up. But how were the contributions from other band members? And how was it working together? Is this the same lineup that did Epilogue and Global Warming?
No, so it's still me, Dane, Simon, and then we got our new guitarist Luke and a bass player Matt. So basically, it would have been like almost 2 years ago now. I started writing all the skeletons and demos for the songs, and then basically we would spend a week just all sitting on Skype going through the songs, rearranging them,
Oh, because yeah,
and
COVID,
then
Australian lockdown.
that, and also because I live in a different state to everyone else. I live
Okay.
in Melbourne.
COVID didn't even
Yeah,
matter.
yeah. So basically, yeah, we fleshed them out like that. Simon did his drums to him. Dane did demo vocals. Basically went from there, and then yeah, we hit the writing process. We spent a couple of days doing pre-pro, changing parts. Like, what's the song called? Full Sequence. Like that song was completely different before we recorded it. Like the main riff of that was written by Luke. Same with Acts of Kindness. The chorus was rewritten, and the whole end part was written by Luke during pre-pro. Yeah, so it
So
was like everyone was, the album wouldn't be what it is unless everyone in the band, like everyone put their input in. So yeah.
that's awesome. So you feel like with this current lineup, you guys have like really good chemistry.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
That's awesome. That's definitely necessary. You know, bands fall apart because of it. Even if every individual is skilled, or you know, you got to bring something to the table, and you have to be able to at least be kind, interact socially. Like, you know, there are some people who I know like just show up, they do their part, and they leave. For some people that works, for others it doesn't. But like, definitely that compatibility is it's key. Yeah,
Yeah, 100%. Like if you're on tour, you're spending a month together. You got to
absolutely.
be able to do it. You got to be able to work together. Everyone's got to do that thing, and yeah, we definitely have that.
Yeah, that's really cool to hear. Um, did you guys record remotely, and or did you go into a studio and end up recording in person?
So yeah, our bass player Matt is actually a producer. So what we did was, sorry, um, I flew up to Sydney and we hired an Airbnb for about 2 weeks, and we basically he sprang all his stuff, and we recorded in an Airbnb for like 2 weeks, and we just smashed it all out. It was like, yeah, I think it was like 2 songs a day,
Oh,
including
sure.
Die Rise, which counts for like 3 songs.
Yeah, I really do like that song. That's probably my favorite off the album. Because I guess that gets into what you're talking about not just like building to a point, but building to points where it just takes a direction where you don't expect. And just ultimately, I'm a sucker for dark ambient synth, and I feel like that song really delivers. And just going through the comments on not only my own video, but like that video, other of tracks, or even just generally media related to director's cuts, it seems to be a favorite of the people.
Yeah, which was like, it was pretty surprising. Like an 8.5 minute song is very hard to do. Like it was written to be like, I kind of was like, everyone was like in the band, I was like, oh, I want to see if I can write a song that's like 8 minutes long. And it kind of like, it was like, I'd never do it. Well, I'm not going to say never, I might do it again. But like, yeah, to build it to like be where it's like not a punish to listen to and it's still new, it was like a very, very challenging thing to do, for sure.
Definitely. Yeah, yeah. You know, having listened to black metal, I got some 14-minute songs saved, some longer. Yeah, people go wild with it. So, and it's definitely hard to keep attention for that whole time, because if you
Mm.
know switch it up too much, then it's like it becomes kind of multiple songs that don't really connect with each other. So it's like that's also something you have to watch out for. But I feel like that was definitely one cohesive piece built together. People love it. So I guess you guys have to play it live.
Oh god, that solo, like playing the song is fine, but that solo, God help me,
It's a good
that was
solo.
fucked.
It's a good solo.
Yeah, that's another thing that's new with the band. We got solos now.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I feel like people are a little scared of soloing live. I noticed. I've been to a few shows. I'm like, man, there's a lot of chugs and not a lot of blue blue. I want to bring it back. As within Destruction, they do that live. Distant, they do it live. Angel Maker. It's nice to see some bands actually doing that stuff, because I feel like even if you have like a full album with no solos, like if there's no melody to break up, you know, just groove, you can only groove for so long. You need diversity.
Yeah, yeah, I'm all about the melody.
Yeah, no, that's why I really appreciate this release, and the way it progressed from your past releases. It definitely has much more melody. The others were definitely more groove focused. It was really cool to see that sort of progression, that development, and I'm excited to see what you guys do with it. How has it been? When did you guys sign to Unique Leader?
Ooh, 2020, I think, like late 2020?
Yeah, it's very
I don't
recent.
remember. Yeah, 2020, 2021. all a blur. It was some point in then. Yeah,
How has that been? You
they've
guys
been
have
great to us.
the they've been great to you? Yeah. Because it's
Yeah,
you guys got quite a few awesome coworkers. What like Worm Shepherd, they're sick. Crown Magnetar, I mean, how's that
yeah,
been?
they're
Yeah,
mad.
being under the same label as some of these guys.
Yeah, it's been cool. Like, there's so many good bands on the label as well. Yeah, it's been cool.
You guys got the aren't you guys about to do the European? No, 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 no. Yeah, unfortunate. What was
Nah, we were on the American run with Volvidania and I can't remember the other bands.
it was
Band of Fear. That's it.
Bound in Fear, yeah. Well, was
Yeah.
oh shit, what's the name of the band? What's Jamie's band? Viscera. No. Yes.
They were on it too. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
they
right.
were on it
Yeah.
too. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, what was that like to, have to drop out of that tour?
It sucked. Like, because that was in the works for like so many months. It was like really keen to like, because it was all announced. It was like everyone was keen for it, and then we're like, unfortunately, Dane had to have surgery, and we're like, ah. But yeah, the good news is like, I guess Dane's doing good now. Like eh, everything to do with that's doing good, which is the main point.
Yeah, that's good to hear, especially like, ears. That's
Mm.
that's like you need that. You really need that.
Yeah,
Uh
straight up.
and then yeah, so I know like some other bands do have a mentality of just like we don't give a shit. We'll play, we'll do whatever. That's definitely the Within Destruction mentality. Like Luca when he like broke his leg was playing without his feet. But what how do you guys feel about like that approach versus everyone needs to be together? Not saying that there is like a right way to do it or a wrong way, both are valid. But yeah, what made you guys all collectively drop off versus like try to steam ahead?
Well, I guess it's like, yeah, if one man's down, like we just got to support him. Like it'd be kind of weird. Like we did, I think one show last year where I couldn't play it because it was like very last minute and obviously traveling. But it's very yeah, like it's not the band unless everyone's there.
Definitely,
I
yeah.
feel like because like everyone has their element. Like Luke and Matt, for instance, both do vocals live. It's very hard to find another drummer like Simon. Yeah,
Yeah, definitely, especially like your front man's down. I don't know who keeps the hype. I guess you have to like spin more or something.
yeah, you can't replace Dane.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's talk about. So, what were you doing before To the Grave?
Before To the Grave, I
What's
was
your musician lore?
uh, well, I was really late to playing guitar. Like I only started playing guitar when I was 17. Like I'm 25 now, so like I wasn't in any band
Mhm.
until I joined, which I was like I think I was 20 or 21. So like I don't really have anything up to then. Like they found me through just like posting on Instagram
Oh shit.
and somehow like mutually found me and messaged me. So like I don't have any interesting lore before To the Grave.
No, no, I find that itself interesting because I feel like a lot of people think, you got to be playing for decades, you got to be doing like, vocals since you're 2 years old. But like, it's really never too late. Like I just released like an EP today, and I started writing like last year. I just fucking just tried it, worked out. You learn as you go. And it's definitely of course, it's not easy, but it's definitely more accessible, especially now with computers. Like, oh, you don't need a drummer. Just fucking program shit, fuck around, find out. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
you don't need to know anyone local. Like yeah, I took like it was such a big risk to join as well. Like who knew what the band was gonna do? Like they broke up, and yeah, it was like I don't have that cool lore. I skipped all like playing shitty shows. Like my first tour was with Volvidinia in Australia.
Oh shit. Okay, so you never
Yeah.
played to an empty room or like 5 people.
No, I don't have any of that character development.
Yeah, you did a speed run straight to straight to national tours. Wow. So yeah, well, what got you into guitar at like 17?
Oh, let me think. It's a good question. I can't remember the album because, like, yeah, I was really like late for it. And I was like, I feel like it was Bring Me the Horizon. Like,
Mm.
it would have been 2015. I think I like listened to Sempiternal. I was like, oh, I'm gonna do this. And yeah, I just was like, all right, I'm gonna start learning guitar. And I was pretty much like self-taught. I got like a few lessons when I was 18, when I was still at school. And I was lucky to have a guitar teacher who was actually in a metalcore band
Oh
through the
wow.
school, which was like, yeah, it was like really good like that, where it was like, I kind of was learning, I wasn't learning stuff that I wasn't interested in. So yeah, it kind of went from that, and I was just like super like, I just like got addicted to practicing, I guess, which I'm not that good, but like, yeah,
Mhm.
it kind of just led to like, yeah, here I am.
That is so lucky that you said this was the teacher like through your school
Yeah,
who just happened to be
yeah.
into the same music that you also were getting into. That's awesome. That's really awesome. Man.
It was kind of like, yeah, it's like really lucky thing where it was like, oh, I was just like, I signed up to it and I was like, oh, I'm learning like stuff that I'm actually interested in. I'm not learning something that I'm not. So yeah, it was really good.
You still keep up with this teacher?
Yeah, yeah, we're still in contact.
Yeah, he's got guest list privileges.
Oh yeah, forever.
Damn, that's
Oh, big
awesome.
time.
So yeah, what about like your music taste growing up? Because you found Sempiternal in 2015.
Yeah, so before that, it was just like rap, which I'm still really into, like East Coast rap, all those stuffs. But then, yeah, I found like Sempiternal. I was like, oh wow, this is like weird. I didn't think I'd like this screaming music. And then, yeah, just like built from there, where I like got really into deathcore, like Whitechapel, obviously,
Hmm.
huge like new era. Corruption is like, it's still like one of my favorite albums.
Yeah, no, they're
Same
great.
with, yeah, same with like all the Suicide Silence stuff. I'm like, want to show back then. What was that album called?
Was it Funeral Moon or was it something
Flesh,
else?
the one before Flesh Coffin. What was it called? It was the black album with the symbol on it. That one.
Oh man, I don't know. I got into them also around 2019. Yeah, but I know what you're
Yeah,
thinking about.
yeah. Basically, just like grew off that, and I was like, okay, I guess I'm playing deathcore now. I like
Yeah,
this.
you really boomeranged. So you didn't even like grow up like with metal. You just kind of found it like, yeah, I'm gonna play this now.
Yeah, it was like so sudden.
Man,
I
that's
just was like,
wild.
yeah, this is my thing.
Yeah, so like how how has it been to get like such positive feedback from director's cuts? Like what has that feeling been like?
Honestly, was not expecting it like to be this good for how much. Well, I guess it's maybe not different. Obviously, for me, it sounds very different at blog, but for everyone else to be like such a drastic shift, it was like there was definitely the part where it was like, oh, people are gonna be like, To the Grave is sold out. They now have choruses. They now have all this. To hear people like really pick it up and like be like, oh, this is such a step up was like, damn, okay, this is it, I guess. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was really like appreciate everything everyone's ever said about it.
Yeah, you guys do choruses now. It is interesting. I
Do
do feel like there is we do have a culture of critique and it isn't always just positive, but then people say it like it's positive. They're like, "What? It's just criticism." Man, and it's like, "Okay, you can keep some of these to yourself." But yeah, it definitely feels like uh sort of tough to manage criticism, especially just given like everyone can just sort of like put their thoughts like right into your phone and like seeing that it can definitely be tough. Like having a social media presence like can definitely be draining. Have you experienced any of that? Like, Just in terms of just like,
Not
you know, the
really.
internet trolls. That's good.
Not really, because like I read like comments, I'll just like brush through them. But like for me, a positive or a negative comment is just a comment and it boosts the algorithm. So either way, if you say something negative on say one of our videos, that's just another comment that's gonna like boost the video. So it's like for me, it's like, yeah, say what you want to say. Really,
Oh,
like it's not
you're like
gonna
an
affect me.
entrepreneur. You're thinking from the business angle. That's hilarious. Yeah, maybe I should do that. Yeah, no,
So I'll just
it's definitely tough to you know, go from like not having like a very present or even public social media presence to do to having that, and like in a realm where criticism is a thing. Definitely for me, that was like I was like, oh shit, okay, we're getting called slurs. It was kind of wild, but you know, learning to deal with that has definitely been important.
it can wreck some people. Some people just like read so into the comments that it like destroys them, which is like
Definitely.
sad because it's like it's pixels on a screen, and
Hmm.
it's like these people would come up and see you and say the nicest things. That's I guess that's just the way I see it. I'm just like, yeah, say what you want to say. You're boosting our algorithm, so good.
Oh man, yeah. I gotta maybe I need to do like more meditation. Maybe I need to shut my fucking phone off. Stop looking at the comments. Let's see. What else we got on the menu today? I don't know. Is there anything else you would want to talk about? Oh wait, my girlfriend wanted me to ask you this because I mentioned I was like to the gray they're a vegan band, and she had posed this question to me previously, and I was like, well, this is an interesting question. How many chickens would you kill to save a human baby? Assume
Um,
these are also baby chickens, so both have lives ahead of them.
I'll just grab the baby and hold it up. No one has to get killed.
Wait. What was your answer?
I just pick the baby up. How are the chickens gonna grab it?
Oh no,
No
it
one
is
has to
not.
get
It
killed.
is not conflict. It's just you are selecting like there's like a number of chickens that will die, and at what number would you then pick the baby? Or maybe it's a 1-to-1 ratio. Maybe it's at two chickens. You're like, this is too much. Take the baby instead. Where are we at? How many baby chicks?
I'm gonna say none for everything. Yeah, no
Okay,
one's
so
getting harmed.
no, we got it. My answer. I feel like I did this in a kind of insane way. I was like, okay, the average lifespan of a chicken is like 6 years. The average lifespan of like a human is like 72, around 70. So I was like, maybe as many chickens up till that threshold, and then past that, the baby's going. But I don't know.
Hmm,
We like to get into philosophy. I think this is what philosophers do.
fair
They're
enough.
like trolley problem, the babies and chickens.
Fair enough. Yeah,
Was that? Have you ever gotten a question like that before?
I have not.
Well, there's a first for everything. Uh, you got any philosophical questions?
I do not have any.
You don't have any?
Don't harm any animals. It's not a question. It's a statement.
Based to the grave, everyone. Uh, yeah. Is there anything you want to shout out?
Um, shout out. I'll shout out my mate's band Heaven's Gate. My good friend and roommate Naz. I'll shout out Heaven's Gate.
Oh, roommate.
Other than that, yeah,
Oh wow,
we live together.
it's a house of music.
It is.
Wow.
um, no, other than that, just keep streaming director's cuts. Give us your criticism. Boost the algorithm.
The business.
And more than likely, no matter where you live, unless you live in like some weird um place that we don't usually tour usually, but we'll probably see you by the end of the year.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's exciting. Yeah. No, it'll be good to see you on whenever you guys come out again. So that'll be nice, or not even again for the first time. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
it'll definitely be soon. I promise it.
Scheming. Yeah, I'll plug like your socials to the grave stuff below the video when I upload it, and then we'll go from there. Yeah, and you can just send me anything else you want me to plug, charities or anything like that. Yeah, thanks so much for being on, man. I appreciate it. Kicking off
No
my
worries, bro.
podcasting career.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course.